time to get out of pocket. I'm your host, Michael Davis, right here for Boom Broadcasting's YouTube channel. We are live, and I want to put out a disclaimer right here. Okay, I was out of town yesterday, which means I am doing this show for you guys before I watch the Cowboys game and before I watch Monday Night Raw. I have avoided spoilers all day to be able to watch both of those things with my dad and with my family. So I am going to use a rule, and I'm going to break a rule right here for Boom Broadcasting. Don't be a dick and don't spoil it for me. Okay? Understood? If you don't spoil it, I can pop up your comments live as we are on the YouTube channel here, 5:30 p.m. Eastern time. But that is your disclaimer. Nothing Cowboys, nothing Monday Night Raw related, and I'll do this show, and we'll have a great time because we have the top quarter rankings from this past week. Now, let me tell you, when I tell you I have been avoiding spoilers, I've gotten kind of good at it. This was very challenging to be able to put these top quarter rankings together without knowing the result of Monday Night Football. That's what I was tasked of doing. Therefore, I have a team coming in at number 8. I have the Washington Commanders. Now, the Washington Commanders, they lost Thursday Night Football in Philadelphia. They gave up a 10-6 lead heading into the fourth quarter, got outscored 20-8, and that was the result of the game. Saquon Barkley just dominating, destroying teams. He is probably the second best rusher of the year, and Washington and Dallas are in the same boat, having to play Saquon twice a year now. Jane Daniels obviously had a really hot start to the year. Last couple of weeks, he's been humbled a little bit, but you need a little bit more help from your ground game. Brian Robinson, only 16 carries, 63 yards, and a touchdown. You're like, hey, 3.9 yards a carry isn't that bad. But then you look at the opposing side and what they had to play against. Really needed more help from guys like Scary Terry. 1 catch for 10 yards. Same with Zacchaeus, 1 catch for 10 yards. Noah Brown, 1 catch for 4 yards. And if your leading receiver is out of the backfield, like Austin Eckler was, 8 catches, 89 yards, but that's your leading receiver against a team of Philadelphia's caliber, you're going to struggle to win games. The Philadelphia Eagles, they were able to handle business against Washington, but I still keep Washington here at number 8 because I still think they are a viable threat in the NFC East. And if they don't win this division because of this game against Philadelphia, they could easily find themselves in the NFC wild card and give a team troubles, unless Dan Quinn's playing this team, because Dan Quinn didn't have a great track record against this team in last year's playoffs. As the defense coordinator of the Dallas Cowboys, Dan Quinn just let Green Bay run and pass all over them in last year's playoffs, and that was tough. That was gross. By the way, I'm seeing a comment pop up. I can display that if it is not related to the Dallas Cowboys or Monday Night Raw. And Chris DeLuca, your host from Dugout Debrief, he's watching live on YouTube just like you guys should. Tommy DeVito should be at number 1. So this is very interesting because we did have my number 1 team lose this past weekend. I've said all along, I don't know if I would remove them, but there's a compelling case. I got to get there. And Chris will be on Dugout Debrief this Thursday at noon covering some baseball for us. But Tommy DeVito, the new quarterback for the New York Giants, that news was broken over the last couple of days. And I will have Jason from 3 from Deep, from Sideline Savants, and he'll be telling us exactly how he feels about this Tommy DeVito switch for the New York Giants when he's on this show on Thursday. But Packers at 7, what they did this week was they beat the Bears. Now, granted, they may have gotten pretty lucky against the Bears. I don't know how bad I feel for any other quarterback like Caleb Williams, who he had 2 big losses, one to the Commanders, who's at number 8 in this list, and one to the Packers at number 7. Caleb losing to number 2 overall pick Jane Daniels obviously didn't feel good, but Caleb did his best, but his defense let him down with that Hail Mary. This time, the Bears special teams let him down. A blocked field goal as time expired gave Green Bay the win. But Green Bay, give them credit. They are doing the best they can. Jordan Love, 260 yards on 13 completions. Josh Jacobs being productive on the ground game. Christian Watson having a career high 150 yards receiving this past week. Doing some phenomenal stuff. And obviously the Packers and Jordan Love, leading them to a game-win drive with 3 minutes to go left in this game. May have left a little too much time for Caleb Williams, and probably the Bears win this, and probably the Packers move out of the top quarter rankings, but that's not how this worked. But I will have Podcast Smitty on later on to talk some NFL, talk some Top Rope Tuesday. I don't know if his 49ers are making it. Onto this list because of what happened this past weekend. But a team that is making the list is I'll have Wayne from Sideline Savants in, and his team drops to number 6. Now, I don't know if I haven't had the Ravens in these top quarter rankings except after that week 1 and 2. But the Ravens had a very difficult game on the road against your rival, the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm not going to fault them because the defense had an answer for Derrick Henry. 13 carries, 65 yards, 1 touchdown. They had an answer for Lamar Jackson, 207 yards passing, 46 yards on the ground, a touchdown, interception, less than 50% completion percentage. They had an answer, the Pittsburgh Steelers did. And the Baltimore Ravens, I still think, are a huge threat. They are just getting matched up wrong. They lose to the division rival, the Browns. They lose to the division rival, the Steelers. So I think if this team gets in the playoffs, they're still very dangerous, but it doesn't look good for them to drop a game against Pittsburgh. And hey, they'll get another opportunity against Pittsburgh later this season. We'll see how they bounce back. Now, a team who did beat one of these teams that I've already talked about in these top quarter rankings comes in at number 5. As a matter of fact, another one comes in at number 4. I'm going to give number 5 to the Philadelphia Eagles. A very rocky start to the season. Everybody's wanting to fire Nick Sirianni, and I think that's more the Philadelphia Eagles fan base as opposed to actual, people who like the organization. But Philadelphia, they're getting healthy. And that should scare people because for a lot of this season, the Eagles have not been healthy. Saquon hindered a little bit. A.J. Brown out. Devontae Smith out. Dallas Goedert out. And now that they're healthy and Jalen Hurts is, keeping this team afloat, you got Saquon Barkley they can rely on. Probably the first running back they could rely on in quite some time. You got A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, 2 really good receivers. You got Jahan Dotson, who can be a serviceable slot wide receiver, but you're not having to use him because Dallas Goedert is stepping up. And this defense, too, like Cooper DeJean has surprised me personally. Kenyon Mitchell surprised me as well a little bit. But it starts at the defensive front. Jalen Carter, Brandon Graham, they're making plays on the defensive front. And Jalen Carter slipped to the Eagles in the draft because of off-field issues prior to getting drafted. And sometimes that is a huge risk for an organization because you never know how that player is going to adapt. And if that player just had a mistake at a young age or if it's going to be a continuous problem. But for the Eagles so far, taking Jalen Carter, slipping in that draft was a high risk, but a high reward situation because he is making a difference on the defensive front. And coming in at number 4, I mentioned Wayne will be on here shortly talking some NFL, talking some Top Rope Tuesday. His team come in at number 6, but his team has been surpassed as the number 1 AFC North team, and that is the Pittsburgh Steelers. How could you not? By the way, how could you not put Pittsburgh at number 4. They've been impressive. By the way, Jason, the co-host with Wayne for Sideline Savants, in addition to dropping 3 from deep yesterday, Quick Hits dropped today. Shannon Smith will be on later, but Jason saying Eagles are a fake contender, taking advantage of a crappy East and tush push. I have my own thoughts on the tush push. I think that should be banned, as well as pushing running backs after their momentum has stopped. I feel like there could be a result of an injury, but honestly, let's be honest. It's just like getting your local rural area to put up a guardrail until somebody, drives off a cliff and, gets seriously injured. They're not going to put a guardrail there. They're always going to wait until the worst possible scenario happens. I feel like that's the same thing with the tush push and the running backs momentum. But the Eagles, if they're a fake contender, you will not hear any complaints from me as a Cowboys fan. Again, no spoilers. I have not watched last night's game, so please do not spoil the Dallas Cowboys game or Monday Night Raw. Still want to provide you out of pocket today live on Boom Broadcasting. If you're watching us, I appreciate you. If they're fake contenders, I'm happy with it, but I don't think Washington was a crappy team. I think the Eagles beat a quality team, and it's helping them move forward. Pittsburgh's at number 4. Like I said, I think a week ago, I think 2 weeks ago, the Pittsburgh Steelers, to be in the position they are now, I mean, this is unheard of. You switch quarterbacks mid-year for no apparent reason, and you for somehow get better. Najee Harris is okay. Jalen Warren's okay. But they are really surviving off of this defense with Minkah Fitzpatrick, Patrick Queen, TJ Watt, Cameron Hayward, just to name a few, Joey Porter Jr., and they are doing it with Mike Tomlin, which I believe, call me crazy, I believe you should consider Mike Tomlin as coach of the year, because there is absolutely no reason looking at the Steelers roster that the Steelers should be anywhere close to the top of the AFC North. They should be worse than Cincinnati. Cleveland, obviously, bottom of the barrel. But Pittsburgh should be the third best team in the AFC North, and that is not how this season's worked out, whether it's been Justin Fields, whether it's been Russell Wilson, Mike Tomlin, a very underrated head coach. And maybe some people disagree with me on that, but that is true. Now, here's where it gets tricky. In recent weeks, I've had Baltimore up here. They've obviously dropped. The Lions have been at 2. The Chiefs have been at 1. But there was a certain team that beat the Kansas City Chiefs this past weekend. And I want to talk about it a little later. But I have to put one of those teams at number 3 after this week. I'm going to put the Buffalo Bills. Now, the Buffalo Bills have a very, very compelling case to be the second best team in the NFL, to be the first team in the NFL in my top quarter rankings. What they were able to do at home against the Chiefs was very, very impressive. Josh Allen's run reminded me of Cade Klubnik's run on Clemson this past weekend that helped them surmount a lead that was propelling Clemson to a victory. I think the same thing with Josh Allen's 26-yard run this past week was huge to go up 9 points and really put pressure on the Chiefs. Now, who knows? Some people thought, Chiefs actually had a legitimate chance after a 9-0 start to be an undefeated back-to-back Super Bowl champion team. But the Buffalo Bills obviously have a huge rivalry with the Chiefs. If they met in the playoffs, I don't know if it ends like this, but Keon Coleman out. James Cook didn't even have a good game, 9 carries for 20 yards. He did punch it into the end zone a couple times, but the emergence of Khalil Shakir, the emergence of Curtis Samuel, to where you're not fully relying on Amari Cooper or James Cook. The Bills are finding ways to win. Now, there may have been a couple questionable calls on both sides of the football that I won't dive too much into, but Buffalo, I keep waiting for their demise. They're still a good team. And coming in at number 2, I have the Detroit Lions. Detroit, yeah, they're impressive. Yeah, they're doing good. Yeah, they put up a 50 burger, but it was the Jacksonville Jaguars that they beat 52-6. I mean, it might as well be a JV team losing to a college super powerhouse in the Detroit Lions. Jared Goff, shout out to the commish Wayne, saying that Jared Goff would throw for over 227 passing yards this week. He threw for 412 and 4 touchdowns. Montgomery, Gibbs, Monroe St. Brown, and Jameson Williams both step up. But again, it was the Jacksonville Jaguars. And of course, I'm putting it number one. I've said it the entire time I've been doing this show. The Kansas City Chiefs, even with a loss, I can't move them out of number one just yet. Yeah, they lost a tough one to the Buffalo Bills. The Bills probably know the Chiefs better than any other team. And the Chiefs are still hungry. And the Chiefs still deserve that number one spot. Drew Code Sports Talk. By the way, if you have not watched that episode, I was a guest on his show. Cody, great host. It was an awesome episode. Super fun. You go check it out on their YouTube channel. It was fantastic. Lions beat the spots off the Jags. Pez is going to be looking for Coach Campbell after that game. Very true. Very true. Dude, Cody is awesome. And Jason disagreeing at Lions number one. Okay, until you can beat the man, you can't be the man. And the Bills beat the Chiefs. Maybe they could have been number one, but I'm not putting the Detroit Lions there just yet. So that is your top quarter rankings for Out of Pocket for myself. And that is what I'm leaning towards. Okay. But I am not alone this episode. I want to bring in some good friends of mine to see what they think about the Bills beating the Kansas City Chiefs. Bills being at 3 in my top quarter rankings, the Chiefs being at number 1. First things first, he dropped Quick Hits this morning, 9 a.m. He is podcast _Smitty. Shannon, appreciate you joining us. And then I also have the host of Sideline Savants, the commish, Wayne Thomas. Wayne's team dropped a little bit in top quarter rankings. I apologize. It was my choice, but not my choice. And originally, I thought the Ravens were going to beat the Steelers. I was wrong. But Wayne, you actually predicted the Bills beating the Chiefs, so you don't seem that surprised that happened this weekend.
No, it screamed upset from the start. I mean, the Chiefs are 9-0. The Bills' defense has been showing up, has been playing very good lately. I just saw it happening, and on Sideline Savants this past week, I told you all to sit Patrick Mahomes because I thought it was going to be an upset game. Now, Patrick still scored 23 points in fantasy, so he had a pretty good showing still fantasy-wise. You can't complain about 20 plus points in fantasy, but listen. The Bills are hot right now. The Chiefs are bound to lose something this year, and they were the team to do it.
Hey, that was the team that did it. Shannon, when you think about what happened this past Sunday, I mean, it was technically a 2-score victory over the Chiefs, which is pretty impressive to be a 9-0 team by 9 points.
I saw it coming as well too. I didn't think that the Chiefs were going to win this game. The way the Bills are playing right now, but mostly the way that Josh Allen is playing right now. Now, I'm thinking, and I've been listening to a lot of sports today, whether it be my day off and everything, and they're saying that one of the reasons why the Bills won this game is because of the receiver room. There was talk saying that one of the reasons why Josh Allen had trouble with his interceptions is he was forcing that ball to Stephon Diggs. Now Stephon Diggs is gone. He went to Houston. What is happening in Buffalo? They're passing the ball effectively. They've got great receiving core. The young crew that they have, Kincaid, Shakur, Keon Coleman, they're actually playing good football right now. They added Amari Cooper. They added Amari Cooper in the trade deadline. It worked out perfect for them. Amari Cooper is not your number one. He's not a number one guy. He's more like your number 2. And that's what's up, man. That's hilarious right there. I love Jason. That's my guy. But with the way that they're playing right now, just Josh Allen is playing out of his mind. He's playing very, very well. And, you know, the Bills are going to win. Yeah, you're right about that. I mean, for real, you know, I mean, that might have been what did it. I mean, who knows? The Taylor Swift effect might be real. And so here we are. So here we are thinking that Josh Allen done this. No, he wasn't Josh Allen. It was Taylor Swift all day long.
I don't remember the last time I saw a comment like this. That just got me. Jason says when Taylor Swift won't even come to Western New York, you know the Bills were going to win. This is Wayne, as a fellow Swiftie, are you okay with that comment?
I am. I think the Chiefs are going to shake it off, though. I think they'll be all right.
Shake it off. Ooh, ooh. Hey, I didn't get paid to sing, so that's about as much singing as you guys. Shout out Jason for the comment of the year candidate right there. Before we move on to the other news in New York, are you guys okay with me keeping the Kansas City Chiefs at 1, Lions at 2, Bills at 3? Shannon, what's your initial reaction with that?
Oh, I am. Absolutely. I feel like the Kansas City Chiefs are still dangerous because they don't have to worry about a streak anymore. They can go back to playing football, and that's going to make them more dangerous. And let's just be honest right here, y'all. We knew they were going to drop a game, and who better drop it to than the Bills? But, y'all, it was the regular season that they dropped this game. Playoff Mahomes is an animal. Trust me, I know this. My squad failed victory twice. So this is just another obstacle that the Chiefs will definitely get over. They've done this before. They're no stranger to this. The Bills got it at the right time. They will probably see the Bills in the AFC Championship if Wayne's Ravens have anything to say about that. They more than likely may see them in the AFC Championship. They may see them in the divisionals. Who knows? We don't know. But it's going to make Kansas City more dangerous. No worries.
No worries. Wayne, what were your thoughts on the top 3 in terms of the top core rankings?
I agree with them, and I'm with Shannon. The Chiefs have shown us before, even when we doubt the Chiefs in the past years, when they don't look as electrifying as they do, they somehow come in and get through with it. And we've seen the Bills do what they're doing before as well. So, and then look what happens at the tail end of the season. So until the Chiefs are not that team anymore, you got to go with the Chiefs.
Gotta go with the Chiefs. Jason saying they've not been playing well. Block kick and some ref calls had them undefeated. Lions are monsters. So maybe Jason disagrees. Jason will be on Thursday's Out Pocket talking the Daniel Jones, Tommy DeVito switch, as well as giving some NFL predictions for the weekend. Chiefs are vulnerable. Chiefs are back-to-back Super Bowl champions. That's all I'll say. People are waiting on their demise. It's not going to happen. A demise that has happened is somebody lost their job. Not talking about me yet, but the Jets GM got fired. Joe Douglas. By the way, I'm not making fun of anybody losing their job. That is terrible. But he was in his last year under his contract. They let him go about 2 months early from the deal expiring, and I made note that Joe Douglas was the GM, not named Aaron Rodgers, because I feel like Aaron Rodgers has had a lot of control over this roster and how it's been shaped. So, Wayne, I'm curious, does this even change how the Jets operate as a football team and a roster standpoint?
I don't think so. I think it's a little too late for that. I think the Jets need to start considering moving on. Obviously, getting who they need to get in the draft to be their future quarterback. When you got what you have with the Jets and you're not winning games still, I mean, what is there to do? I mean, it's just a lost cause at this point. You know, thank you, Aaron Rodgers, for your service and your years of giving us amazing football, but it's done. It's gone.
And we're having comments flood right now. Chris Lucas saying, bad move by the Jets. He drafted legitimate talent such as Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson. And knowing Garrett Wilson was in trade rumors at some point this, like, especially when they went for Devontae Adams, I'm like, why would you do that? Jason from 3 from Deep and Sideline Savants saying Rodgers had him fired because he took too long to get Adams. And Drew Code Sports Talk, this is interesting. Jets have let go of everyone except the person who's the actual problem. Shannon, who's the actual problem in New York?
You know, I know who Drew is alluding to, and I gotta disagree with him. Aaron Rodgers could not control the fact that he tore his ACL his first year. That's the only thing that I will not fault Aaron Rodgers for. However, this wasn't really all Aaron Rodgers' fault. This was management's fault. Management decided to put their whole franchise on a 40-year-old quarterback on a bad leg. They knew that Aaron Rodgers was older. They knew he was long in the tooth. They knew he was on borrowed time, but they still did what the Jets always do and decided to make stupid decisions, and they done that with Aaron Rodgers. Now, mind you, Aaron Rodgers is going to the Hall of Fame. We know that. All of us here can agree Aaron Rodgers is going to the Hall of Fame. Aaron Rodgers is a winning quarterback. He knows how to win. Yes, but Aaron Rodgers is at the butt end of his career, and the Jets thought that they could revive him, and they did not. They made every move to accommodate Aaron Rodgers, and what did it do? Almost destroy their franchise. Now they have to dig. Now they have to start making moves, and this was a move to get themselves ready to leave Aaron Rodgers, because Aaron Rodgers is not coming back next year. Even if they would have kept Robert Saleh, if they would have kept their general manager, Aaron Rodgers is not coming back next year, and they know that. Somebody had to have told them that, or they have an inkling knowing that Aaron Rodgers is not coming back. So what are they going to do? Make all the moves to where Aaron Rodgers, to get Aaron Rodgers out of there, to get him gone, and now the Jets are going to have to fan flames after it's all over with. The Aaron Rodgers experiment did not work. It was not going to work. It was a bad move for them, and now they're stuck with the smoking gun. So good job, Jets.
Wayne, do you agree that Aaron Rodgers won't be a Jet next year?
I don't know. I can't. I think he will be a Jet next year, but it's probably the last year. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. It's tough to call. I mean, when they've done so much to put Aaron Rodgers in a position that he's at, and to do what he's done with this team, I mean, you ride with it, right? I mean,
that man's gone. He is gone. There is no way he's coming back next year. That man is good as gone. I mean, no way. The country singer, God Almighty, what's his name? Jesus Christ, man, this song going. Lord have mercy. Luke Combs. That man is going.
Oh my goodness. Drew Code saying the Jets did make their bed and they're laying in it. The season is on Rodgers because of his play and the drama he brought. That was very dramatic, by the way. A message in 2 different YouTube comments. Shout out Drew Code Sports Talk. Playing chess, not checkers, with us as we're streaming live on YouTube. This is why we do these live streams on Boom Broadcasters YouTube. You guys can interact and engage with us. We only have so many people on the panel each time, and so this is what helps you guys. Chris saying Rodgers a future Giants quarterback.
I mean, he'd do better than Tommy DeVito. Daniel Jones, he'd do better than both of them guys.
I don't even know. They have more talent with the Jets than they do with the Giants.
Aaron Rodgers is going to kill the whole state of New York if this happens right here, man. Because you know the Giants going to do the same daggone thing. They let go of Saquon Barkley to get Aaron Rodgers a year later. Are you kidding me?
Drew Code having a good laugh. Chris saying Jason would love that. And I already have breaking news from Mr. NY himself. He says no.
See? Even he knows. No. Why?
Cowboys be looking for a new quarterback. By the way, Drew Code, if you didn't hear the disclaimer, no Cowboy spoilers from last night's Texans game. That was not a spoiler. Thank you. I appreciate it. But Dak is under contract. Dak is the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys for the foreseeable future because we're not going to pay him that much money to stay on the bench. But we didn't have to pay a lot of money to watch a certain fight this past Friday night. We were going to preview it on Out of Pocket. We had severe technical difficulties. The first time I've ever had technical difficulties at the studio I will work at. So we've handled those so far. Knock on all the wood around you. We haven't had any issues yet. 30 minutes into this live stream. But Netflix can't say the same because they couldn't handle Jake Paul, Mike Tyson on Netflix. This was free. This is actually surprising. A boxing event would be free to stream. But obviously they buffered. I'm not going to cast stones because I know technical difficulties happen. Heck, Friday was the day of technical difficulties. I apologize to Wayne. I apologize to Jason. I apologize to everybody who was tuning in Friday. I saw the numbers of people who just clicked on to watch a blank screen because there was severe technical difficulties and sometimes you can't control. But I'm looking, and there's about 5 to 6 weeks until Monday Night Raw moves to Netflix. So we all here on the panel are wrestling fans. So I want to take this on a wrestling approach for a Top Rope Tuesday. How do you think this and this, lack of success with the live streaming with Jake Paul, Mike Tyson is going to impact Netflix handling WWE Raw and other live events moving forward? Wayne, what are your opinions on this?
I think it's going to be okay. I mean, it was a kind of an unprecedented thing that we saw with Tyson and everybody on my news feed, whether you're a boxing fan or not, was tuning in. It was a spectacle. They wanted to see it. They're not going to get that numbers every single Monday for Monday Night Raw. Monday Night Raw, don't get me wrong, is a ratings powerhouse. They always go over 1 million some viewers every week. We know that America loves its wrestling, but it's not going to be on the level of a spectacle that, a 58-year-old Mike Tyson fighting a 27-year-old Jake Paul was going to be. So I think I don't think it's going to have many issues. And honestly, I mean, I had issues with my feed as well, but once I got to a point where I was behind on the live aspect of it, the buffering seemed to smooth out a little bit. And a lot of people tune into Raw maybe the next day or so on. So if it happens, as a personal fan myself, I know I usually watch Raw later in the week. So it's gonna be okay, and I'm really excited for Monday Night Raw on Netflix. If you've been a WWE fan, you've seen the way this company has gone with the PG era and everything like that. To see Raw going to a provider that is going to give a little more leeway with creativity and the way we're able to watch wrestling almost like the old days, you should be excited.
You should be excited. Drew Code Sports Talk. Netflix just want to see whose account was password sharing.
Yep.
Maybe. Not me, of course. Shannon, what was you had some thoughts on Quick Hits about Friday, but how do you feel about Netflix and your confidence in them moving forward?
I'm with Wayne on that one. They're going to be fine. One thing and Wayne hit the nail on the head, I watch Raw throughout the week sometimes, with the way my work schedule is sometimes I got to be in bed early, sometimes I don't. So there will be times where I may catch it live and there will be times where I won't catch it live. Like this fight, I caught all the other fights before Jake Paul, Mike Tyson. I kind of knew the outcome of what this fight was going to be. I was worried for Mike Tyson. I'm not going to lie to you. I was super worried for him. And I'm glad that he made it through. I'm glad that Jake Paul had some type of professionalism about him and didn't go for the kill with Mike, which was good that he didn't do that. I love Joe Tessitore calling that fight. I love anything Joe Tessitore does. I enjoy. So I'm going to definitely be happy for Monday Night Raw going to Netflix and hearing Joe Tessitore calling these fights. He's a heck of a dude. I love that guy. He's a great stand-in for Pat McAfee when Pat gets done with college football and gets back on to call Monday Night Raw. It's great. But I think that the WWE knows what they're doing. I think they're going to be fine. This is going to be good. They're going to be able to have the creative flexibility, just like Wayne said, in order to put out good product. And before we go, I just want to say Jake Paul needs to get in the ring with an actual fighter instead of just picking on old guys and guys who don't fight. Stephen A. Smith had a very wonderful talk about that on his podcast, and I watched that this morning, and he was absolutely correct. He's stepping in the ring with guys who are past their prime, geriatric, ain't never held no boxing gloves, none of that. Put that man in the ring with a Canelo Alvarez, with a Gervonta Davis, one of those guys, and he'll get toe up one good time. So let's do it.
Podcast Smitty spitting facts, no printer. For Drew Code Sports Talk, Chris saying 3 rounds I got to watch were amazing. He had to wake up for a WVU tailgate at 6 a.m. the next day, so I'm sure Chris enjoyed his time. Max saying if y'all wilding in the comments today, if Netflix struggles with me seeing Rhea Daddy, not going to be happy.
On a Tuesday.
Anything can happen on Out Pocket. We still remain PG, but that's PG. They say that on Monday Night Raw all the time. That would that is hilarious. Chris saying Jake Paul would lose to a college boxer.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. He would get towed up. I mean,
that's out of pocket.
No, it's not. That's totally in pocket right there. He would get towed up if he had a person that really threw hands. Go back and watch some of those god awful fights he had when he fought Nate Robinson, the basketball player Nate Robinson. He hurt Nate Robinson, and Nate Robinson he hit Nate Robinson so hard that Nate Robinson passed out, and Nate Robinson didn't know who he was after that fight. He's fighting people that have no hands. He's fighting people that are older. He's fighting people who don't fight for a living. He trains with real trainers. This is what a lot of people got to understand. He's in Puerto Rico. Felix Trinidad is from Puerto Rico. Very, very talented boxer, 90s, 2000s. He's training with real trainers. This is why I have the problem that I have with this dude. He's not fighting real fighters. He's talking about Canelo Alvarez needs him, and he doesn't need Canelo. Canelo's the world champion. How you gonna sit here and talk about a world champion needing you? You a fool if you get in the ring with Canelo Alvarez. He'll tear you to pieces, and I'd pay for that match right there. I'd pay for it all day long just to laugh. I mean, this is what it is. And now, once again, for those who didn't watch QuickHits and everything, if you liked this fight right here on Netflix, I invite you to join Michael Davis and Wayne D'Amato Thomas and watch pro wrestling. Because this is exactly what this was. You had a fighter, promote this fight. Him and his meager fans watch this fight. His meager followers watch this fight. And people with nostalgia watch this fight, even though we knew that Mike Tyson, 58 years old, he might not make it. But here's the thing right here. I implore you all to watch the ultimate gentleman's sport, pro wrestling, because this is what this was right here. This was all the other fights beforehand were good fights with real boxers. You had a YouTuber turned boxer and a man past his prime. Boxing. This is pro wrestling at its finest. So watch pro wrestling, everyone. Watch it. You'll like it.
Thank you. That's a great segue to our next topic. Before I do drop a wrestling podcast tomorrow afternoon at 3. Wayne drops Sideline Savants tomorrow at noon, but Carson is also on the Wednesday team. He drops Lombardi Party tomorrow at 6. Jake Paul is a very intermediate boxer. He's better than some guy off the street, but he can't fight a real fighter. So maybe we'll see Jake Paul, fight a real fighter, so to speak.
We won't.
Jake Paul is and always will be a social media star. Mm-hmm. This is just a hobby for him to push his brand. That's what he does, and we eat it up. And it is what it is. I mean, we love a spectacle. So I don't look at Jake Paul and view him as a boxer. He's a social media star. And he does what he needs to do to keep his name out there and get paid. I mean, look what he did before the match. A guy came out in a car and his brother spraying him with cologne the entire time. It's a joke. He's a joke. Jake, that's all Jake Paul is. He grabs your attention. He knows how to work the internet, and he gets paid.
Yep.
Hey, he might not be here to make friends, but he's here to make money, like CM Punk was.
And I'm okay with that. I mean, for real, I'm okay with a guy doing that, because one thing I can say is that, and I even say in QuickHits that, Don King, who was a big fight promoter around the time Mike Tyson was, he took all Mike Tyson's money. That man took a lot of boxers' money. He was a crook. And people like Don King, I can't stand them because they robbed from the product. They robbed it. And he robbed fighters. He robbed Mike Tyson of all his money. Shame on that man. So Jake Paul, I like the hustle, That man is not using promoters. He's getting the money to him. He's doing the promoting. Boxers did not destroy boxing. Promoters destroyed boxing because of how they ripped money. They were able to manipulate fights. They were able to manipulate who fights. That's the reason why people love UFC so much, because UFC, Dana White puts those fights together and says, this person and this person are going to fight, and they're going to fight at the right time. So the fight that we got on Saturday, UFC 309, it was a better card because Dana White makes sure that his guys fight at the right time, fight the right people, and main events it right. He books it perfectly. Hats off to Dana White for that. Boxing did not do that for years because there were fighters that were supposed to be fighting beforehand, and then they wait 3 and 4 years down the road because promoters want to eat the money. And that's the reason why we get lackluster boxing matches. And I'm okay with Jake Paul promoting and booking his own fights. I'm good with that. But book your fights with guys who actually box for a living. And I'll be fine with you. I'll call you the face of boxing all day long. You are not the face of boxing. Terrence Crawford. You're not that. No, Terrence Crawford would be. I'd give it to Canelo Alvarez. Timothy. I would give it to those guys before I ever. You don't even crack my top 20 fighters of boxers. Not at all. You are not face of boxing, sir. Forget about it.
Forget about it. Like we forgot about CM Punk for so many years until he popped up in AEW, and now he had that whole brawl out with the Elite, with AEW execs. He moves to WWE, and then I'm texting these two guys right here because they were basically my producers for today's show, filling me in on all the news as I avoid spoilers for Raw. I avoid spoilers for the Dallas Cowboys Monday Night Football game. Thank you guys in the comments for helping me avoid those. Y'all are the best fan base. And then Wayne tells me that CM Punk claims he's wasted some matches in AEW before his WWE return. And with us being a little over a week from Thanksgiving, this comment rubbed me wrong if it was meant in that context, because much like Cody Rhodes, we don't get Cody in WWE without Cody in AEW. We don't get CM Punk in WWE, whether you like him or dislike him, if we don't first have AEW giving CM Punk a chance in AEW. So if CM Punk is not grateful for his time in AEW, no matter how it ended, I feel some type of way about this. Wayne, you and I were texting back and forth, and you feel some type of way too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can't sit there and say you wasted matches. You're an athlete. You're an artist that gets paid to do what you're doing. And AEW paid CM Punk to be a star and come and elevate their company a bit. Obviously, it didn't work out. And maybe in the aspect of CM Punk is so fragile that he feels that he wasted matches because his body can't take anything anymore. But besides that, it's an incredibly stupid thing to say. I mean, if it wasn't for CM Punk going to AEW and having that drama over there, Triple H never would have brought him back to WWE. And CM Punk is where he wants to be. And look what he's done in WWE so far. Yeah, he's had a great feud with Drew McIntyre. But again, just like in AEW, the man's been injured half his time there. So it is what it is. I mean, I'm not a CM Punk fan. One of my favorite clips online, you have Seth Rollins talking about CM Punk. They're asking him how he feels about the guy before he came back to WWE. And Seth Rollins himself said he's a cancer in the locker room. I don't like you. Philly Phil, stay away. That's how I've always felt about CM Punk. He's a punk.
Shannon, is he a punk?
I'm starting to like Punk. Starting to like him, with what he was doing in WWE. I was starting to like Punk. I was sitting here like, man, you know what? Maybe I was wrong about this dude. But now I see this right here, and I'm just like, seriously, dude? It's like talking about your ex-girlfriend again, man. It's over. It's done. Let it go. You're back here. You're doing all this good stuff in WWE. Even though you have been on the shelf a good bit, I get it. But you had a very wonderful feud with Drew McIntyre. You've done very, very well. But, dude, you got to let it go. You got to forget about it, man. I mean, AEW is fine without you. Number one, they're good without you right now because AEW is starting to get really, really good right now. It's starting to get better with if what we're thinking is going to happen, then it's probably going to get a whole lot better. So you got to let that stuff go, man. Punk is doing well. He's thriving. But, you keep looking back and you keep saying this stuff. Oh, I wasted matches in AEW. I wasted matches. No, nobody cares. Nobody cares. You're not there anymore. Let those people live. Let them live. Let them go. You got to do that.
The thing with WWE, too, is there's a whole lot of people who watch WWE that don't necessarily know a lot about AEW. And there's a whole lot of AEW people that know plenty about WWE. When CM Punk goes out there in that ring and he does his little shots, and he does it very often about AEW, it doesn't catch anything because no one knows anything about it. The reason AEW can successfully make those little punches is because everybody knows WWE. So you moved on, Punk. You're in the big leagues again. We get it. We get it. No one in that idiot WWE audience knows what you're talking about when you're insulting AEW the way you're doing. Just move on and enjoy being on top again.
Right.
just chill, bro. If you hey, what you think going to happen in AEW?
Here comes the money.
We thinking Shane O'Mac?
Yes. Yes.
Yep.
It better. I mean,
Is that with the John Moxley Death Riders? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. I think it is. I mean, for real, with the Young Bucks shredding up documents and stuff and getting out of there in a hurry. You ain't seen them in weeks. They were the EVPs, and now we don't know who's running the place. Somebody's running the place, and we're gonna find out.
That'll be interesting if Shane comes in and he's like, I've bought AEW and the contract says McMahon, but it says Shane McMahon. We're getting way too ahead of ourselves. Full Gear is this weekend. I'm going to be previewing that on Drop the Mic tomorrow when we're back. Wayne will be up for Sideline Savants. Shannon dropped Quick Hits earlier today. But guys, that is our episode for Out of Pocket. I appreciate you guys. If you guys enjoyed this and this is your first time tuning in to Boom Broadcasting or tuning in to Out of Pocket and you haven't checked out Quick Hits or you haven't checked out Sideline Savants or many other great content we do. I mean, Carson from Lombardi Party, Chris from Dugout Debrief, Jason from 3 from Deep were just some of the people who were in the comments today. It's really a family. And it's a huge family. Mac was starstruck, and it's very appreciated. I love you guys. I appreciate y'all. It's not taken lightly. Jason, you rock. This whole team rocked. I appreciate you guys taking time out your Tuesday to spend time with us. Now, Out of Pocket skips Wednesdays, and we'll be back on Thursday with some weekend predictions before I go to Duke for a Duke VT game before the NFL weekend commences. And guys, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for not spoiling wrestling or Monday Night Football for me. I appreciate you. And I'm going to shut off all my screens and go enjoy some time, some quality time with my family. So guys, for Michael Davis, for Shannon, for Wayne, this has been Out of Pocket on Boom Broadcasting, and we'll see you back here on Thursday.
Well, that's it. I really hope you enjoyed it. We had a ball making it. Thank you very much.